Hello, Michigan gardeners. This is Doug at Buzzard Family Farm on Verona Road, just outside of Marshall, Michigan. It's Saturday, April 15th, 2023, and today I am going to do some dividing of some hostas. These were grown in the field, specifically right here at this end. Looks like it's kind of weedy, but I'm going to pull the hostas out and I'm going to divide them. Um, and then up further in the row, you'll see that will be this year's garlic harvest. The garlic was planted in late September, and then I mulch it with straw. It actually emerges in the fall, usually October, November. You can see little green sticking up, and it stays like that through the winter, and then really begins to put on growth. As you can see, it's 8 to 10 inches tall now. And then what we'll do next is in June, mid-June, you harvest what are called the scapes, which are the flower heads, because you really want to get those flower heads off there and all the energy to go into making the biggest size garlic bulb you can get. And then you can sell the scapes if you can find somebody who wants to use the scapes. People saute them, people um, use them in omelets, they use them in all kinds of different things. In this area, it's been a tough sell. I don't know. I need to do a little bit more work on the marketing because people don't buy the scapes much. But I'm going to check with a couple of restaurants this year and see if they're interested in having some of the scapes. And then you do that in June, and then usually mid to late July, the foliage begins to die back. And when you're down to 3 to 4 green leaves left, you want to pull your garlic out, and hang it to dry in a cool, darker location. And then it'll cure after a couple of weeks, and you can start to sell the garlic bulbs. So that's the garlic life cycle. And then what you can do is save back some of your garlic, break it into cloves in September, and just plant a single clove. And then each one of those cloves will turn into a full size bulb, anywhere from 5 to 8, maybe 10 cloves in a bulb, depending on the variety of garlic. Beyond the garlic is a row of peonies, and you can see there's quite a difference in the size of some of the peonies. The early peonies are up substantially, and later peonies are just emerging from the ground. So there's a whole row of peonies. Mostly out here, we're using these peonies um, for propagation purposes. I grow them here underneath this landscape fabric. Um, Tends to keep the moisture level in there when I drip irrigate them and helps them to get bigger faster. And so we usually in the fall will divide uh, every 4 or 5 years we'll divide up the peonies to sell at our greenhouse and farm market. Um, we do use a fair number of them for cut flowers, but I have a lot of peonies in the flower garden, which is very easily accessible to the farm stand. So a lot of people just cut peonies there, or we cut peonies from there also. But we have them out here in the field also that we'll cut. But again, out here it's more for propagation purposes. We're trying to have peonies plants to sell to people in the spring. At any rate, I'm going to back this up a little bit. And this is the cluster of hostas I planted here at this end of the garlic. I don't know, they've been in here for a year. We'll see how big they are. I've got my soil knife, which is my dividing knife, and I just have to dig them out and see how big they are. We have not had rain for several days after a month of rain in March. And so now the ground is very hard, very dry. And these guys are going to be a tough dig. That, and there's a fair number of weeds out here. So right now, a lot of your hostas in Michigan are at this stage. These are called eyes. You can see the eyes all here that will turn into nice leaves. And so what I'm going to do is just cut this one in half. And again, with a hosta, I did a video on this a year or two ago. I tend to like to go up through the bottom and then try to split it apart so that I can pull it apart rather than cutting down through the middle of it and potentially losing eyes as a result. So now I have this division, which will go in a 1-gallon pot, and it has 4 eyes showing, so it'll fill out a gallon pot nicely and be a nice big plant. And this one, which actually has 5 eyes showing, so it'll fill out the pot very nicely too. So I'm just going to go down through and dig the rest of these, divide them up, get them planted into gallon pots, and we'll be selling them at the farm stand, at the greenhouse and farm stand for $9 a piece this year. Good size hosta. This one's called Gold Standard. I really like it. It has a little bit of gold in it, obviously, but it has some nice coloring and texture to it. So it's an interesting hosta. Makes a nice plant for the shade when you're looking for something with a little bit of variegation, a little bit of different color that will stand out, and the gold tends to do that. So peonies, which I was talking about a few minutes ago, they're in that second row. We do all that dividing in the fall. That's when peonies are dormant, the best time to do it. And we've got those all potted up. A huge variety this year. We have yellow ones, we have purple, we have pink, we have magenta, we have red, or burgundy, some people like to call it. We have bicolor ones, some that are pink with a white center. It's kind of a balm type peony. It looks like a little, kind of like a balm, like there's a white bunch coming out of the middle and then pink petals that surround it. We just have a great variety of peonies, and they're really good sized peonies. I don't put a peony in a pot unless it's got at least 5 eyes showing, and you'll see when you buy them online, and sometimes you can find a deal for $15 or $20. They're usually 2 to 3 or 3 to 5 eyes, so they're not a really big plant, and you're just getting a little tiny root. So it takes that peony a year or two to build up its roots enough so that it can really push out flowers again. We're selling you a 3-gallon pot with a really good sized peony root in there that should give you some color the first year. Sooner you get it planted, the better, because if we go hot, as we've been these past few days, you want to get the peony in the ground as soon as possible so it gets acclimated and settled in for a hot summer, which we'll probably have. But that's what I'm doing today. I thought I'd share that with you. Haven't got a plan for the next video, but I'll think of something, and I'll see you then. Take care.